Hi, fourth graders. So today we're going to be learning some background history in order to read the historical fiction book Freedom on the Menu. Here's the cover of the book Freedom on the Menu, and it's a story about the Greensboro sit-ins. It's written by Carol Boston Weatherford, and the paintings are by Jerome Lagarrigue. So, in order for us to read information or read the book, we need to know some important background history. So, after today, you're going to understand the time period the book takes place in, the historical conflicts our character may face, and how the time period is going to affect the character's actions, choices, and decisions. Here are some important vocabulary words that you're going to need to know in order to understand the book. So, boycott is to refuse to conduct business with a person, store, or organization to show that you disapprove of something. A lunch counter is a long counter where lunches are sold. Nonviolent is a philosophy or strategy for change that opposes using violence, so you do not use violence. Picketing is to walk or stand in front of like a fence post, often in protest. A protest is a public demonstration of disapproval. You're going to see a lot of protest and picket pictures throughout this presentation. Segregation was the practice of keeping people in separate groups based on their race or culture. And this whole book is about the Greensboro sit-ins. A sit-in is an act of sitting in the seats or on the floor of an establishment as a means of organized protest. So this is a picture from the National History Museum. The countertop that was where the boys sat for the protest is actually in the museum. You'll see there's 4 seats and there were 4 men. And then this is a historical sign that's in Greensboro, and it says launched the National Drive for Integrated Lunch Counters on February 1st, 1960 in Woolworth store 2 blocks south. So the sit-ins took place at a counter in a store called Woolworth. This is the author's note from the book. We're going to read it because it gives some important history. On February 1st, 1960, 4 students from North Carolina Agricultural and Technical College sat down at Woolworth's lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina, and asked to be served. The college freshmen, 17 and 18-year-olds, Frank McCain, David Richmond, Joseph McNeil, and Ezeal Blair, known as Jabril Kazan, became known as the Greensboro Four. We were kids ourselves, said Joseph McNeil. After living that lifestyle of second-class everything, we said, enough is enough. Being second class means you feel like you're being treated worse than everyone else. We did not like we didn't like not having dignity and respect, said Franklin McCain. I went out of that store feeling powerful. So you'll notice they were sitting at the lunch counter. It's the same from the picture here. They actually took it out of the store, and it's preserved there because it's an important part of history. And you'll notice they're sitting at the lunch counter. At this time, lunch counters were segregated, so you could not be served at the lunch counter. And you'll notice the worker behind the counter is a black man. So it was kind of crazy that you were able to work there, but you were not able to sit at the counter and enjoy your lunch. Within days, students from Bennett College, a black all-girls school, began sitting at the lunch counter too. White students from other local schools, Women's College, Greensboro College, and Guilford College, also participated. So this wasn't just black students, it was also white students. Students not only sat at lunch counters, but made their own signs and marched on downtown sidewalks, urging people not to shop at stores whose lunch counters would not allow blacks to sit down and eat. Often, white hecklers tried to scare off the protesters by calling them names and threatening violence. A heckler is basically a really annoying person that just gets in your face. Some students were arrested, but the Greensboro sit-ins lasted off and on for 7 months. High school students carried on the protests after the college students went home for summer break. Student-led sit-ins soon spread throughout the South. So this is a picture of girls from Bennett College who were also sitting at a lunch counter. Here are some pictures of people protesting outside of Woolworths. Some of the signs say, every citizen has a right to sit down. Segregation is morally wrong. We support Southern sit-ins, and we walk for human dignity. And if you notice, look at the population of people who are protesting. It's not just Black people. There are a lot of white people also supporting the protests. Now, with all the good, there's also the bad. This is a picture of some white men dumping drinks and other things on people who were sitting at the lunch counter protesting. And again, you'll notice this is a white man sitting in on the protest, a white woman, and here's a Black woman. So it wasn't just Black people who were protesting. Many white people felt that this was wrong as well. Now, these people, not a fan of them. On July 25th, 1960, so think this started February 1st, on July 25th, 1960, Blacks were finally allowed to eat at the Woolworths lunch counter. The first served were the lunch counter's Black workers, Geneva Tisdale, Anitha Jones, Susie Morrison, and Charles Best. I am very proud of that, said Geneva Tisdale, who worked behind the counter for 35 years. We've come a long way. So this is a picture of Geneva Tisdale. She actually passed away in 2019, but she was the first person one of the first people to be served at Woolworths, and she worked there for 35 years. You'll notice this is the same counter. She's actually at Woolworths right now in this picture. After the 1960s sit-ins, students and other supporters successfully challenged segregation in other places: parks, swimming pools, beaches, theaters, restaurants, libraries, courtrooms, and elsewhere. Like the student sit-ins of 1960, these peaceful forms of resistance sent a strong message. Till justice is done, we shall not be moved. So this is a picture of the protests. I'm just going to make it a little bigger so you can see it. Ooh. I don't know why that happened. Hold on. Okay, this is a picture of a protest outside of a theater, Ford Theater. It says, wipe out racial segregation right now. Ford's discriminates against American citizens, and we shall win by love. So they were protesting segregation at the theaters. Now, this is the back blurb from the book we're going to read tomorrow about the Greensboro sit-ins. Freedom on the Menu. Here it is. There were signs all throughout town telling 8-year-old Connie where she could and could not go. But when Connie sees 4 young men take a stand for equal rights at a Woolworths lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina, she realizes that things may soon change. This event sparks a movement throughout her town and region. And while Connie is too young to march or give a speech, she helps her brother and sister make signs for the cause. Changes are coming to Connie's town, but Connie just wants to sit at the lunch counter and eat a banana split like everyone else. So tomorrow we'll read the book, and today I just wanted to give you some historical background. Again, this is a historical fiction book, so while the Greensboro sit-ins were a real thing, Connie is a made-up character. Your work today is going to be similar to the other days where you have to give me some information that you learned in the video. So I hope you have a great day, and I can't wait to read the book with you tomorrow.